Hello, everybody. Welcome to Broadway.com's Live at 5. I'm Beth Stevens.
And I'm Paul Juan Torek.
Are you sure?
I had to think about it.
Okay. Today is Wednesday, May 23rd, even though it says Tuesday, May 22nd right there. And we are here with social media maven.
Hi, everyone.
Caitlin Gallup.
What's up?
And we have a fabulous guest.
A Tony nominee.
A Tony nominee, Ari'el Stachel, is here from The Band's Visit. Yes.
Who we love. Who we love. Who we love.
But first.
More than Chet Baker.
More, yeah, for sure.
We'll get to that. But first, we have our top 5.
All right, so we got some amazing casting news this morning that one of our favorite people, probably of all time, is heading back to Broadway.
Yeah, so 3-time Tony Award nominee, Andy Karl, has joined Pretty Woman. So,
The Pretty Woman, yes.
Yeah, Pretty Woman, the musical, as it's called. I saw Steve Kazee starred in it in Chicago. I went to Chicago to see it. Steve Kazee was fantastic, and Samantha Barks also is the other star.
Julia Roberts role.
Mr. Kazee, who of course won a Tony Award for once, has left the production for family reasons. And Andy Karl has stepped on to do the show on Broadway.
He's reuniting with his Legally Blonde co-star.
No, who's also his wife, Orfeh. 5 letters is all she needs. And of course, they met doing Saturday Night Fever.
That's right.
Together, and then they also did a little show called Legally Blonde that I know you love. Kyle, the UPS guy, and Paulette together forever. And they did Me and Mrs. Jones, another show that only I saw in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Anyway, but they're not romantic. They're not romantic couples.
Not in
So
this
Orfeh
show.
plays Kit DeLuca. So basically, he's going to be with her best friend on stage. So it's a new dynamic. It's a fun, when you've been married a long time, explore new dynamics. So anyway, so congratulations to Andy Karl. He's playing Edward Lewis, of course, the Richard Gere role. And this starts like in July at the Nederlander Theater on Broadway.
That's exciting.
All right, and some more exciting casting news. We found out that Jason Tam is joining the off-Broadway production of Be More Chill.
This is cool, right? So Jason Tam...
It's chill.
Chill.
Oh,
Super
pardon
chill.
me. This is chill.
So chill.
Thank you, Paul. This is the Joe Iconis musical that's coming to Pershing Square Signature Center. I like to say the whole thing.
I know,
July,
it's so exhausting.
I know. It's from July 26th through September 23rd. So Jason Tam, we know him from List of Strada Jones, Les Mis, If Then.
Chorus line.
A chorus line. Okay.
He was also in
He was
Jesus
also in
Christ Superstar.
K-pop, and he was just in Jesus Christ Superstar. Thank you, Caitlin.
Yeah, so good.
And he just won a Lucille Lortel Award. He plays the Squip. Will Rowland plays the lead. I don't know a lot about Be More Chill, but apparently a lot of people do because it's buzzy. I had to say it again.
No, yeah,
Buzzy.
it has a big fan base.
It seems
Joe
to.
Iconis has a big fan base, but
That's
he
true.
hasn't really had a proper production of a show in New York.
It's a
like
big
a
deal.
big, a big thing. So
So good
everyone's
casting.
really excited.
Yeah.
I know, I'm excited. All right, I think every single day we talk about really good Muni casting, and today is no different.
So they're doing Jerome Robbins Broadway, the 1989 winner of Best Musical, I believe, the Tony
Well,
Awards.
I'm sure someone can look that up.
It
and
beat
find
Black
out
and
if you're
Blue,
correct.
which I also loved. Jerome Robbins Broadway is a really fun show, but
never saw
it's
it,
an
so tell me about it.
enormous show.
So
Because
is
it
this a-
requires a huge cast, so it was really expensive to mount it originally, and
okay.
it's not really a show that a lot of people revive. But and actually, this is sort of I saw Rob McClure a few months ago when I was in Washington, and we were talking about because Rob McClure is playing the Jason Alexander role, which I guess is called the setter, which I didn't know, but he's kind of like the narrator, and he plays some of the parts himself. So they announced more casting, but he was talking about how it's such a big show. And it's perfect for like a place like the Muni where they can actually have this enormous cast do it. So Darren Scribner, who was in American in Paris, has joined. So this is a show where a bunch of different principals play a bunch of different roles. So it's like they're doing scenes from
like a
On
dance
the
review.
Town
Is
and
that-
Peter Pan
Okay.
and West Side Story, and every show Jerome Robbins choreographed.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. So also Sarah Bowden, Christopher Churchin, Gabriel Citron, Alexa Dabar. Am I reading all these? Just Fry, Leeds Hill, Sarah Marie Jenkins,
Go
Cole
for it.
Joyce, Maggie Lacus. Is how you say it? That's just Rob's wife.
Yeah,
it's Rob
Lacus?
McClure's
Yeah,
wife.
yeah.
I'm sorry, they just did the tour. I'm sorry, Maggie, for not. It's not. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Jenny Powers, fantastic. Drew Reddington. Are you tired yet by the name?
I'm
Ari,
no, with
are
you.
you tired? It's a lot of names.
We're staying here.
Sean Rosansky, Elizabeth Teeter, and it's also like pronouncing names, just like on the fly. Taneri Vasquez and
Send
Erica
your
Wong.
angry email to Paul
Congratulations.
Wontorek.
It's running from June 11th through June 17th at the Muni, which is not in New York, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. All right, but also I know Paul is probably really excited about this because it's his favorite show, if you didn't already know. But Carousel is getting a cast recording.
This falls in the not shocking category.
Not shocking. Also, one of your favorite shows. I just want to qualify
My
that.
favorite classic musical.
Oh,
There
okay,
we go.
thank you. You're welcome. So Carousel's getting a cast recording. This is surprising absolutely no one, but let's give you the details. It's released digitally June 8th, so you can play it as
they
you
recorded
prepare
like
for
a
the
week and a half ago.
Tonys. They recorded it like a week ago,
Yeah.
according to Paul. The actual CD, if you actually need a physical CD, do
Nobody
people
does.
still have those? I guess if you want to get it signed at the
Maybe
stage
you have
door.
an old car that has a slot.
Or if you just want a signature. July 13th, currently available for pre-order. Of course, this
Why
is
do people pre-order?
so they can just have it
Ask Ari.
at midnight. Oh, sorry. Has so many Tony nominees.
Why do you pre-order? I don't understand.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Lots of Tony nominees in this show.
Yeah, we know.
Lots of those.
Five.
11 Tony nominations.
This year,
Five
Tony
actors.
nominees.
11 nominations.
5.
Big deal. Carousel.
Great.
Listen to it in June.
Yeah. June. All right, and last but certainly not least, we have a new episode of Show People.
Do we?
We
do.
Well, you should tell us about this because you're
Lauren
it's your show.
Ambrose is here,
Ugh.
who is wowing audiences in My Fair Lady
Eliza
with
Doolittle.
her beautiful soprano voice. I think I just repeated literally the intro and Show People. I think I said the same exact thing.
Let's see which way you did it better. You can put those against
Anyway,
each other.
it was fun to get to know her. I don't know her that well.
Well, she
but-
hasn't been around these
No, I
parts
know
that
she's a
much.
townie from New Haven.
Oh.
She'll use the word
Townie.
townie.
She did.
So am I. I'm from the New Haven area, and she kind of read me. She's like, "Oh, that's not really New Haven." Anyway, I was from the suburbs.
Connecticut drama.
But my favorite part though was talking about Funny Girl, because remember she was supposed
So
to be
she was
Funny
announced
Girl
with Bobby Cannavale.
with Bobby Cannavale, which was really exciting. And 2 weeks before rehearsed with the same team of
With
My
Bart
Fair Lady,
Scher and all
same
his
designers,
people, Michael Yergin,
2 weeks
Catherine
before
Zuber.
they canceled it. So that was
That was
upsetting,
disappointing
'cause I
because
really
there's
wanted
never
to see
been a
it.
revival.
Because I think Funny
Funny
Girl
Girl.
needs to be revived.
Please, we've been
Because
waiting.
Otherwise, it'll never keep developing. It's get over Barbara Streisand. I mean, we're not over her, but you know what I mean. Anyway, she was fantastic. I enjoyed having her here.
Lauren
And
or Barbara?
She emailed Bart Scher and said, "I wanna." So we have a really funny
Is this you
illustration of
typing?
that. She typed it. She
said,
said,
"I
she
wanna
wanted to
audition?"
Yeah, he didn't go to her. She said, "Hey Bart, I hear you're doing My Fair Lady," because
gotta
he
put
was
yourself
auditioning
out there,
everybody
people.
in town. I've talked to 6 actresses this week. He auditioned, but none of them got it. Lauren Ambrose did. Now she's a Tony nominee.
Awesome.
It's true.
I love that.
And she's great on Show People. And I'm going to go.
Okay.
Because we have another Tony nominee here.
We do.
He's giving me the eye because we've been talking too long. I know he's not. He's really nice. We like
He's
him.
not giving you the eye, but thank you for your service. Caitlin, will you tell us a little bit about
I
Ari'el
would
Stachel?
love to. Ari'el Stachel is currently making his Broadway debut as Khaled. We're going to also get to that. In the band's visit, he earned a Lucille Lortel and Drama Desk Award nominations for the role when the show was pre-Broadway run at the Atlantic Theater, and is a Tony nominee for the best performance by a featured actor in a musical. Right now, we are talking to a Tony nominee, so get excited and send in your questions. His TV credits include Blue Bloods and Jessica Jones, and make sure you follow him on social media at Ari'el Stachel. Please welcome Beth and Ari'el.
Hello, my dear.
Hey, hello,
Welcome
hello,
back.
hello.
It's so good to see you.
You too. I love this room. Is so amazing.
It's a cool room. You're a cool guy. You're in one of my favorite shows. I've been talking about this show for over a year since I saw it at the Atlantic.
Yeah.
And then we had our wonderful Fresh Face interview. Check it out.
Yeah, that was
Check
fun.
it out.
That was so fun.
Where I got to ask you lots of personal questions. But
Yeah.
now everything's changed. Everything.
It has.
Because you're a Tony nominee now.
Yeah.
And you just have this,
I
like,
don't know what
perma smile now.
I know, because I don't even know what that means. I haven't made sense of it. I know that, like, 2 days ago, I was sitting at a table with Anna Wintour to the left,
Oh, my
Glenda
gosh.
Jackson across from me, Tony Kushner, Bruce Springsteen, and Tina Fey, and then me and Lindsay Mendez were sitting next to each other. This was like a
grinning your
dinner.
faces
This was a
off.
dinner that she hosted. No, we were just like.
So this was the Anna Wintour Fancy Vogue dinner party.
This was her dinner party
At
at
her
her
home
home, which is like wider than my apartment building, and it's a house
in New York City.
in New York
Manhattan.
City. And and I won't say
We won't
more.
say-
I
we won't give you the address. Yeah. Okay.
And me and Lindsay Mendez were looking at each other, and we sort of like bonded because we were like, "Girl." And
That's part of it. I mean, being a Tony nominee, you get to have
yeah.
dinner with fancy people.
Yeah, I guess so. And then the next day we have the thing at the Rainbow Room.
So that's like the private reception for
Right.
Tony nominees. No press.
Right.
Just you guys mingling. So who was at that table? Let's drop those
Who was at my
names.
table? My table was my boy Anthony Boyle, who I love so much because He
Harry
just
Potter and
doesn't
the Cursed
care.
Child.
He doesn't care. He's like he does care.
But
Anthony,
he's
you
not
care.
wowed like a.
He's not
British.
wowed. I think he may be Irish, but I don't know.
Okay,
but
Irish.
anyway, we love each other's slang, and it's clear that like he and I had interests other than theater when we were younger because
Like basketball.
like
or-
basketball or something. Like he doesn't even dress in like suits. Like he just comes in like a jeans every single time and like a t-shirt.
Straight from the gym.
Straight from the gym. And so it's always funny because he'll call people lad and I'll like refer to people as squad. And
Oh.
so like because of that like cross, I don't know, that mingling of our various slangs from different parts of the world, we just connected. So he was there and I got to sit next to Tom Kitt,
Awesome.
who I love, and then I got to look at David Cromer, and then
look at him.
and then
Just stare
other
in his
people
eyes.
who are part of the theater wing who I love very much, and I
All right.
forget.
I'm going to ask you the question everyone asks.
Yeah.
So you're going to all these fancy parties.
Mhm.
Have you asked anyone if they like Chet Baker at these parties?
No, more
Why?
people.
This is your line.
More people do that to me, and
Oh,
in
okay.
fact, I got
That's fair.
I got this really funny DM the other day from this girl who was like, "I was in the elevator with you at the Cheetah Rivera Awards, and I almost asked you if you like Chet Baker." So that's like
She could have used your other line, though.
that's a thing. But
What's
can
your
I,
other killer line?
You have beautiful eyes.
That would always work. It
But
always works.
But I think what's funnier is I think like, I got a Tony nomination for saying the line, but I think I deserve a different kind of nomination for the fresh ways that I react to people because literally everybody says it. I'll go at the stage door and I'll sign an autograph and one person will come up to me and be like, "Do you like Chet Baker?" And I'll be like,
Never heard
"That's
that before.
awesome."
Never
And
heard
then
that before.
I'll go like two people down and they'll say the same thing, and each time I give them a fresh response because I don't want them because
So you
I'm
should
never
get a
bored by
so
it.
So they've been talking about having an ensemble award. I think that's a great idea. I also think they should have a reaction at the stage door award, and you would win.
I would Tony Awards.
You can give your acceptance speech
American
now if
Theater
you
Wing,
like.
holla at me. Yeah.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
besides seeing all these fancy people, you've been in
Yeah.
the show for a while now. How's that going? Are you in a groove?
Yeah, I am in a groove. I mean, it sort of ebbs and flows. Like there are times where it gets difficult. It's difficult sometimes. Maintaining the pitch of a song sometimes gets hard because you start doing it so much that sometimes you lose the intention. And so there's this whole other side of things that I've never dealt with at all.
Just for having like a longer run.
Yeah, just having a longer run. So like the muscularity of singing and how you sort of recreate that stuff. And then just the body maintenance. I'm tired.
You're a mess.
I'm sick.
You're a
You know what I
freaking
mean? Like
mess,
I have my
yeah.
water. I have a cold right now. So I mean, there's like a lot of responsibility. But I got a text on the way here, and the guy told me, "I'm sure you're busy. I'm sure it's crazy right now, but I want you to know that you're making people like me happy."
So you got like a
tweet,
fan.
a tweet,
Oh,
a tweet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing because, as you said before, you're
Yeah.
inspiring so many people who maybe haven't seen people like themselves on stage.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah,
getting,
it brings
and
up-
you're in contact with them. Besides them asking you if you like Chet Baker, which is just
Yeah,
going to
no.
always happen to you for the rest of your life. You know that
Yeah.
it's always going to be a thing.
Yeah.
You're going to have to keep up your reactions.
Yeah.
But you have really inspired a lot of young people.
Yeah, and it's really funny. So speaking of the Tony nominees luncheon, we were at the Rainbow Room, and I'm looking at the site of the World Trade Center.
Oh, because you've
And
got that incredible
because
view
you have
downtown.
that view.
Yeah.
I mean, but it was kind of that moment for me as a kid was
Yeah.
major.
were in
It
fifth
was
grade?
seismic. I was in 5th grade. I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
And what I describe is that on top of being like a Middle Eastern kid, which is already, I think, kind of uncool, unfortunately, because there's sort
Not
of
after
no
the band's visit.
not after the band's visit, thank the Lord, but it became stigmatized and hated. And so I'm celebrating this Tony nomination as I'm celebrating a role that I play that celebrates a heritage that I had hid from
Right.
for so many years, and that was just really transformative. And then one of the journalists from Vogue came up and asked me, and that's the only thing that I could think about. And I can't imagine what
And
it would have
Vogue
been
was just like, yeah, but who are you wearing?
what do you no, and I was like, and the funny thing is I was like, I'm wearing this like custom suit from Thailand that I got, and then I got embarrassed that I said that. I was like, it's Theory, because Theory does most of my stuff, but yeah, it is really crazy, and
Well, you carried the impact of that around with you.
all the
The
time.
fact that you hid, in case you don't know.
And I can't
Ari'el's
imagine what it would have been
story.
like when I was in high school when that happened.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right, we have a lot of questions.
Yeah,
I know you
ask me
do.
questions.
Some really great
from our
questions.
viewers.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go for it.
We got some really great questions.
Yeah.
The first one that came up was like, if you can talk about your friendship with Itai, because it's all over social media if you guys don't follow either of them,
Yeah.
and just about like how special it is, and also how special it is about having that on stage as well.
So Itai was here sitting where you were,
He was. Okay.
and I made him say his name because he says it so beautifully. His original
Itai Ben Shlomo.
Yeah, thank you. I can't
Yeah.
do it. I can't do it.
And my name is Ari'el. My real name is Ari'el Stachel.
I know
But
you
I
can't.
don't go by that. The friendship, it's so fun.
Oh, he's
Hanging
such a
with
great
Itai.
guy.
He's such a great guy. So you want to know about my friendship with Itai? Well, my friendship with Itai is amazing. We prepared for these auditions together when we saw the breakdown. We could not believe, because, I mean, not to bust his cover, but his name is Ben Shlomo.
Yeah.
And he
That's
goes
not
by.
Bus's cover. That was his name
I
when he
mean,
was in
he
Wicked.
he goes by Benson. I think
Now.
now, because of how prohibitive that name was for him
Yeah.
as an actor. For me, I would never even think of going by Yeshayahu. I mean, maybe I'll revive it, but for me, it was like bold to return to Ariel.
So Stachel's your mother's name?
Stachel's my mom's last name, and because my parents were divorced, I mean, it
made sense for
it
you.
made sense. Yeah, when they weren't together. But so we prepared for these things together, and it meant so much to us. And we have a picture of us drinking whiskey after our first callbacks for it, and then he did the workshop originally, and then they got a new director, and then
Right, so
I
you guys
did
like
it.
were like past each other.
We were
like,
past each other,
He did one
and
in the
then-
workshop, and then you did the next.
Yeah,
one.
and I remember the FaceTime call he gave me when he got it, and I was
so
in Martha's.
happy for
I was
you.
in Martha's Vineyard at the time, and I fell on the ground, and but it's, I mean, can you imagine how much fun it is? And I'm someone who often gets stage fright, like, you know, I get nervous.
Do
and,
you really?
and
How do you
yeah.
manage that?
I get stage fright right now. Anything that I have to do, I feel huge pressure to.
You're among friends.
I know no, but I just want to be honest for anyone who's listening. Like
It's real.
it is extremely real. As I've gotten more successful, the pressure to impress and to be something has sort of gotten me very angsty. But my best bud's on stage, and so as I go through these things, and he knows at least 1 or 2 times a week I go through a show, and I'm very, very anxious. And I'll look at his face, and he'll just a little thing, he'll be like,
He's got your
and then
back.
yeah, we got
That's
my
amazing.
back. Yeah.
What a great friendship.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
such a
So
good guy,
I
too.
love it, Broadway bromance, and thank you to the lovely Twitter fan who sent us bracelets that said Broadway bromance.
Oh my God.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah says, what is the hardest part of being in a show with so many cultures and languages? And she says, you were amazing, and it was so nice to speak Hebrew with you at the stage door.
So let's explain. So
Yeah.
this musical is
Yeah.
in English.
Yep.
But no one in the show, and the characters actually are not speaking English. I mean, or they're speaking English. They're musically using music as a
We
language.
use music. Yeah, there's Arabic,
English,
there's Hebrew,
There are accents galore.
accents galore, and so you're
And
asking.
then there's actual dialogue in another language at different times.
Right.
Lots of angry
There's a
swearing in
lot of
another-
yeah, in Hebrew, yeah,
Yeah.
in Arabic too. The question is, what is it like to
to deal with different cultures and languages in one show.
I think it's awesome. It's like
Yeah.
my favorite thing in the world. I mean, it's not arbitrary languages to me. These are languages that I heard
Yeah.
growing
Growing
up
up,
as a
yeah.
kid. My father being of Yemeni Israeli descent, I was listening to Arabic music. I was listening to Hebrew music. It feels seismic, and I can't imagine what I would have been like. And whoever the fan who asked that, said it was fun speaking to me in Hebrew. It was fun speaking to you. And I love that now there's this new thing that may be open to you that you had no idea
Right.
was possible before. That's what's so exciting. That and what I love is that it just so happened. I mean, you have no control over the first job you get, like, or the jobs you get in all. But
Right.
in my particular case, I love that the job is having a social impact in
It's having
addition to
social
being
impact, and it's
entertainment.
showcasing who you really are.
Yeah, yeah,
is fun.
it is. And then there's other sides too. I mean, you know, I'm also like a guy, but it's a huge step in a positive direction.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Peyton asks, what is your favorite quote or saying that you repeat to yourself? And I don't think this has to be from the band's visit. I think it
In
can be
general.
from anything.
That's hard. That's a hard thing.
You know
to
what?
come
Someone who's very close to me made me like a placard when I got the Tony nomination, and I hadn't realized that this woman had put a quote on it, and I saw it for the first time yesterday. It became my favorite quote. It's it was a Nelson Mandela quote, and it's something along the lines of, I've learned that a strong man does not feel fear. He just walks into it, or something like that. And there's also a line that I have in the show when I say, he goes, well, I can't, I hear the sea. And I go, then walk into the sea. So those are quotes that I love. I love that, like, you can be afraid, but you gotta just do it.
Forward.
You know, and like a small anecdote is I auditioned for the show 7 times over 9 months. Very scared every time. You just walk into it. So things that sort of speak to resilience and sort of overcoming fear.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's good. Elise wants to know, what was the first Broadway show that you ever saw?
I think the first Broadway show I ever saw was actually Color Purple with Fantasia when I was 15.
yeah.
I think 15, 16 was my first time.
took over for LaShawne's.
Did she? Was that? I didn't know enough about Broadway at that time to know
Filling
that,
all
but
in.
I remember
the original
just like
production of The Color Purple, not the recent revival.
the revival. Yeah. So I saw the revival with Fantasia.
You saw the
Yeah, the
original
original.
production.
I saw the original production of Color Purple in 2000.
Yeah.
What year was that?
It's like 10, I don't know.
2000.
So the other
2000.
cool thing to know is that you
Yeah.
don't need to know everything about Broadway
No,
to
I
be
don't
on
know
it.
anything about Broadway.
I don't know.
Nobody
I don't
knows
know.
everything about Broadway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so did that have a big impact on you when you saw that? No, it didn't.
You can say that.
No, because I remember also seeing the revival of Chorus Line that weekend. I'm just and that somehow, and I think it was because like my mom only sees Rush shows, like all she does, and she would just like, we stayed at someone's house and then she'd like leave, and then like it'd be 8 and I was waking up and she had a ticket, or no, I guess not that early, and I remember I think we just lucked out and got really close tickets, and at that time I thought I wanted to dance. I'm not good at dancing at that level.
Anyone who sees a chorus line thinks they might dance at some point.
Yeah, but I just remember Chorus Line, and also the first song I ever auditioned with ever was I Can Do That. Is that the name of the song?
Yeah.
Now I'm watching Cisco Yeah.
You have
so
to do the music part
yeah,
too. You can't just
yeah.
do the lyrics.
Yeah.
It's really important. I
Yeah.
don't think anyone can sing that song without doing
The music part, right.
true.
Yeah.
Are we going to take one more question? We got to wrap this
All right.
up.
Yep. All right. Last question. What is the best advice you've ever been given? We get this question a lot, and it's always good
That's a
answers.
great question.
I don't know. I don't definitively if this is the best advice, but I remember being in dance class after learning that I wasn't a good dancer. I was, I think, 15, and the dance teacher talked about striving for excellence, and the advice was, I just remember this image that he brought, and he said that, like, man, if you want to be great, this is what the street sounds like, and he was like, how come not work? So I guess the advice was to enter onto that scary sort of uncharted, sort of windy sort of path that hopefully ascends you to excellence. But I'm not to say that I am, but it's always a path.
Something to strive for. That's great.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your Tony nomination.
Thank you so much.
deserved. You guys have to see the band's visit.
Yeah.
Miss Gallup,
Yeah.
will you take us out, please?
All right, I will. Thank you all so much for watching Live at 5 today. As always, you can watch Live at 5 every single day, live at 5, right here. Except we are not on Fridays anymore because it's the summer, so don't tune in this Friday. But tomorrow, you can watch a special Live at 5 from the Broadway.com Audience Choice Awards, and you don't want to miss that. So we'll see you tomorrow.